Chapter 299. Although he had already prepared to give up on that stream of Jinyuan, it would be a lie to say that he did not feel pain in his heart. After all, he had not used that stream of Jinyuan even once since he started to cultivate it. He did not even know how powerful it was, which made Yichen feel pain in his heart. But now, there was no need to worry. The Jinyuan had already merged with the Green Lotus Jinqi. As time passed, the mysterious Jinyuan would also be converted into Green Lotus Jinyuan and would no longer have any connection with the mysterious Jinqi. So, there would not be any problem of not being able to use it. Perhaps, the problem lies with the Great Mystery Art. Otherwise, the moment the Great Mystery Jinqi disappeared, the Great Mystery Jinyuan should have disintegrated immediately, instead of staying there and giving the Green Lotus Jinqi a chance to react. Yichen could vaguely feel that the martial arts from the Heavenly Dream Battle Palace were not simple at all. A mid-rank Earth realm martial art could actually produce a stream of Jinyuan, which was unbelievable. Never mind. Trying to understand something that I cannot understand is not a good thing. Yichen shook his head and did not want to spend any more time on this topic. Sinking his consciousness into his dantian again, Yichen saw that the mysterious Jinyuan was slowly moving in the Green Lotus Jinqi, gradually transforming into the Green Lotus Jinyuan. During the transformation, the mysterious Jinyuan was inevitably a bit mixed. Not only did it contain a huge amount of mysterious Jinyuan, but also a small amount of Green Lotus Jinyuan. Moving his attention away from the Jinyuan, Yichen focused on the 3 Green Lotus Sword Qi outside the Zhenqi spiral. These 3 Green Lotus Sword Qi were only as long as a pinky finger. They were pure blue, without any impurities, and looked a bit illusory. They looked like streams of sharp airflow, spinning around the Zhenqi spiral in a regular pattern. They were in perfect order, and did not clash with each other at all. I have reached the 7th level of the Green Lotus Sword spell in less than 2 months. This speed is indeed a bit fast. It seems that the higher my cultivation, the faster my martial arts will be. Yichen did not think that his training speed was 10 times faster than the other top martial geniuses. It should be known that not only normal warriors needed to change their martial arts, even the disciples of the super martial institutions needed to change their martial arts. Because when one's cultivation was still low, even if one was given a powerful martial art, one would not be able to train it normally. Therefore, in the early stages of training, most people would be training the mortal realm martial arts instead of the earth realm martial arts. Martial arts had always been about progress step by step. Those top martial geniuses had just reached the clasping Yuan realm and had already started to train high-rank or top-rank earth realm martial arts, which was a challenge for them. If they were the same as Yichen and only started to train top-rank earth realm martial arts at their current cultivation, their speed would definitely be much faster. It was just like how Yichen was still unable to learn the sky realm martial arts right now. He had spent more than a year to learn it, but Sea of Souls realm warriors were able to learn it within a couple of months. Did it mean that Sea of Souls realm warriors' comprehensive ability was 10 times, or even dozens of times better than Yichen's? This was impossible. The cultivation speed would be determined by the level 1 reached. The meaning of being a martial genius was that under the same conditions, their cultivation speed would be extremely fast. You could not compare an early clasping Yuan realm martial genius with a late clasping Yuan realm martial genius like Yichen, which would be unfair in itself. Of course, Yichen was confident that under the same conditions, the cultivation speed of a peerless genius would not be able to match up to his, although it was not as exaggerated.
Kill.
Sitting cross-legged on the stone platform, Yichen suddenly pointed his finger.
Qi.
A beam of Cyan's sword Qi darted out, leaving a Zhonglong sword mark on the ground. It was not that powerful, only about the same as the sword Qi released by a normal late clasping Yuan realm sword artist. It was not as powerful as the sword Qi released by Yi Chen's sword. As the sword Qi darted out, one of the Green Lotus sword Qi in Yi Chen's dantian suddenly disappeared, and he would not be able to generate more in a short period of time. Only 2 Green Lotus sword Qi were left spinning around his Jin Qi. The Green Lotus sword Qi inside my body has only been formed not long ago. It seems like I will need a long time to train it before I can bring out its full power. Letting out a long breath, Yi Chen's finger swept across his storage ring. A huge pile of low-rank soul stones appeared on the ground. There were at least thousands of them. In the early stages of changing martial arts, there was no need for soul stones to provide Yuan Qi, because the original Zhen Qi could be directly converted into the current Jin Qi, which would save the training process. But as the mysterious Zhen Qi was used up, it would be time to use soul stones to increase the training speed. 2 low-rank soul stones landed in Yi Chen's hand. He closed his eyes and operated the Zhen Qi inside his body according to the 7th level of the Green Lotus Sword spell. Soon, Yi Chen opened his eyes. No, the low-rank soul stone's Yuan Qi is not pure enough. It cannot keep up with the Green Lotus Zhen Qi's training speed. Do I have to use mid-rank soul stones? Normally, only the powerful warriors who had reached the astral reaching realm would use mid-rank soul stones to train, because the Zhen Yuan was way too pure. It would take too much time to train the low-rank soul stone's Yuan Qi. Right now, Yi Chen was also facing this problem. The Green Lotus Zhen Qi trained by the Green Lotus Sword spell was extremely pure, at least twice as pure as the mysterious Jin Qi. Therefore, using low-rank soul stones would be much more efficient. Putting away the low-rank soul stones on the ground, Yi Chen took out hundreds of mid-rank soul stones. After training for a while, Yi Chen nodded to himself. This time he was right. Although it might be a bit of a waste to train the mid-rank soul stones Yuan Qi into Green Lotus Jin Qi, compared to his power, it was nothing. With 60 to 70,000 mid-rank soul stones, Yi Chen could definitely afford it. Reaching the 8th level of the Green Lotus Sword spell from the 7th level was a very difficult process. It took Yi Chen a whole 2 months before he finally succeeded.
Who?
A sharp qi flow spread out in the air. The walls of the secret room had all been eroded to a crisp, powder falling down. After resting for half a day and eating something, Yi Chen continued to train his Green Lotus Sword spell. It had been 7 months since Yi Chen started his closed-door training. During this period of time, the Sky Cloud Martial School had undergone a huge change. Not only did the number of outer disciples increase from 3,000 to 5,000, but the number of inner disciples had also increased from 500 to 700. The biggest change was the number of outer masters. Countless clasping Yuan realm warriors in the Windy Nation wanted to join the Sky Cloud Martial School. Because of this, the leaders of the Sky Cloud Martial School had increased the difficulty of the selection. Besides having enough power, they also had to have a good character. Those with bad reputations were rejected, and those with ordinary reputations would not have any advantage. Only some of the clasping Yuan realm warriors with good reputations would have a higher chance of joining the Sky Cloud Martial School. Many people expressed their dissatisfaction with what the leaders of the Sky Cloud Martial School had done. Unfortunately, what could they do? It was you who wanted to join the Sky Cloud Martial School, not the other way around. On this day, the Sky Cloud Martial School was the same as usual, and the number of people who wanted to join had decreased a lot. Hundreds of miles away, above the clouds, a beam of lightning flashed across. Within the lightning, one could vaguely see a beast and 2 people. The beast was a demonic beast, and it had 5 wings. 2 pairs of wings were symmetrical, and the one in the middle was a lot smaller. It was covered with lightning, and it was exactly this lightning that made its speed reach such a horrifying level. It was a couple of times faster than the Windy Vulture. On the back of the demonic beast, 2 human figures were standing. The elder on the left had a beard and was wearing a long gray robe. He was standing with his hands behind his back, looking like a powerful warrior. Next to the elder was a young man with a pair of godlike eyes. It was Xigongsheng, who had lost to Yi Chen in the last battle of the Hidden Dragon rank. On the day when the Hidden Dragon rank had ended, Xigongsheng rode on the only rank 7 demonic beast in the floating mountain martial school, the Bright Thunder Beast. He had rushed back to the floating mountain martial school in 1 week and started his closed-door training. This was also the reason why he dared to challenge Yi Chen in half a year. After all, the South Rudra region was way too big, and without a fast demonic beast, it would take at least 1 to 2 months to get back. 9 months of closed-door training. Do you have the confidence to beat Yi Chen? The elder in the gray robe asked. Sikongsheng said, "In the last battle of the Hidden Dragon rank, my first movement of the mysterious Sky Tyrant Fist art was not completed yet. My martial art had also stopped at the peak level of the 11th realm and had not reached the 12th realm yet. This time, I have successfully trained my martial art to the 12th realm, and I have also mastered the first movement of the mysterious Sky Tyrant Fist art. I have also learned the first movement of the second movement. It should be enough for me to beat him. That would be for the best. The demonic beast of the Sky Cloud Martial School is the Wind Eagle. It would take at least 2 months to get back from the Hidden Dragon Ancient City. In other words, he would only have 7 months of closed-door training, which is 2 months less than you. He has reached the late clasping Yuan realm, and 7 months would not be able to increase his battling power that much. What belongs to me, I will take it back myself. The glory in the early stage is nothing." Sikongsheng looked even colder. The bright thunder beast flew out of the clouds, and the two could already see the main mountain of the Sky Cloud Martial School not far away. "Get down!" the elder yelled. Pap! The lightning flashed once in the air. When it reappeared, it was already above the Sky Cloud Martial School. Such a fast demonic beast. There are people up there. There are really people? They are not friendly. Hurry up and inform the leader and all the masters. The bright thunder beast had made too much noise. Everyone on the main mountain of the Sky Cloud Martial School had been stirred up. They all rushed to the plaza on top of the main mountain. Luo Xinglia walked out of the palace. Seeing Sikongsheng on the bright thunder beast, he squinted his eyes and said politely, "I am the leader of the Sky Cloud Martial School, Luo Xinglia. I wonder what brings you two here." The elder looked down at Luo Xinglia. "Let Yichen out." "Yichen? He is in closed-door training. We should not disturb him." Luo Xinglia frowned. He had more or less figured out why Sikongsheng was here. It seemed like he had made some progress in the past 9 months. This time, he must be here to beat Yichen and take back the dragon fountain chi that belonged to him. Shoo! Sikongsheng jumped down from the bright thunder beast and looked around. He noticed that the inner disciples of the Sky Cloud Martial School were all different. He sneered, "This battle is inevitable. I have made a deal with him. Let him fight me first and then go into closed-door training." The headmaster of the Sky Cloud Martial School said, "I am afraid that is not a good idea." To be honest, the headmaster had started to worry about Yichen. Sikongsheng had come with a lot of power. If he did not have the confidence, he would not have come to the Sky Cloud Martial School. Since he had come, he must have the confidence to beat Yichen. What is not good about it? The elder was a core master in the Floating Mountain Martial School. His cultivation had reached the late astral reaching realm a long time ago. He did not care about Luo Xinglia and the headmaster at all. Hearing him, Luo Xinglia's face looked terrible. The situation was not in his favor. Even if he did not want to, there was nothing he could do. He sighed inwardly. This dragon fountain chi was indeed a hot potato. It would not be easy to keep it. But he was one of the people who knew about Yichen's closed-door training. It had only been 7 months, and he would not be able to beat Sikongsheng no matter what. "Sikongsheng, you seem to be late." Right then, a clear voice was heard from the shocking cloud mountain behind the main mountain. It was extremely sharp, like sword chi, spreading out quickly. Chapter 300. Brother Yi has finished his training. A lot of the inner disciples and core disciples of the Sky Cloud Martial School felt pressured by Sikongsheng's aura, which made them feel a bit shorter. It was like there was a giant standing in front of them, a god of war looking down on them from the clouds. That kind of king's aura had made them feel breathless. Only then did they realize who their brother Yichen had defeated. Their admiration for Yichen had reached its peak, almost to the point of worship. The cloud mist between the main mountain and the shocking cloud mountain was torn apart. Yichen, who was wearing blue robes and had a long sword on his waist, flew over. Wherever he passed, the air was like water, with ripples spreading out everywhere. All of a sudden, Yichen landed on the main mountain. "Yichen, are you okay?" Luo Xinglia hurried to ask. Yi Chen shook his head as he shifted his gaze to Xigong Sheng and said, "If you had come a month earlier, I think it would not have been that easy to win against you. But you did not take this opportunity." Half a month ago, Yi Chen had already trained his Green Lotus sword spell from the 8th level to the 9th level. In the remaining time, he had reached the peak level of the 9th level. The 3 Green Lotus Shen Qi inside his body had gone through 2 fundamental changes. After 5 months of training, the power of his Green Lotus sword Qi had increased drastically. It could be counted as one of his killing attacks, and he would not be afraid of anyone in close combat. Xigong Sheng could feel that Yi Chen's sword aura was a bit more powerful than when he was in the Hidden Dragon Valley. However, thinking about his own improvement, he sneered, "Losing to you in the Hidden Dragon rank competition was the biggest shame of my life. Now I will take it back with my own hands." Yi Chen glanced at the elder on the Thunder Beast. "Unfortunately, I do not plan to give away the first place of the Hidden Dragon rank and the Dragon Fountain Cheese. Then, let's wait and see." The two stopped talking as their cold eyes clashed in the air. The vibrations generated were extremely horrifying. Even Luo Hanshan and Zhu Mei did not dare to be within 30 meters of them. On the Cloud Mountain, Thunderfreer said seriously, "This Xigong Sheng is not simple at all. It has only been 9 months, and he has already improved so much. It seems like he is not far from the 2nd Zhen Yuan purification." Cloud Dreamer nodded. "This is the first time I have seen this man. He is indeed a top genius with a king bloodline. The pressure of his aura alone can make people feel like they are no match for him. I am afraid only Yi Chen's sword aura can resist him. It's just that Yi Chen has just changed his cultivation method. Being able to recover his original battle strength is already his limit. His situation is not optimistic." Thunderfreer did not take Yi Chen's minor blood demon body separating great art into consideration. Although this secret martial art was powerful and could increase one's fighting power, it should not be exposed to the public. Back in the day, the blood demon had slaughtered a lot of powerful warriors from the floating mountain martial school. It was hard to guarantee that the elder on the Huang Thunder Beast would not make a big fuss about it and cause some trouble. "Just wait and see. I don't think Yi Chen doesn't know about this." Cloud Dreamer was much calmer than Thunderfreer. He knew that Yi Chen's achievements were definitely not due to luck. "This place is not a good place to fight. Let's go somewhere else." Once they had reached this level of battling power, their destructive power would be extremely powerful. They would not be any weaker than astral-reaching realm warriors. After a big battle, the buildings on the main mountain would be turned into ruins, which was not what Yi Chen wanted to see. Flashing his body, Yi Chen flew toward the mountains behind the main mountain. Xigong Sheng's battling intent surged as he followed closely behind. "Hurry up! Brother Yi is about to battle with Xigong Sheng. This battle will be the top battle between the young generation of the South Rudra region. If we miss this, we will never be able to see it again." A lot of the core disciples and inner disciples chased after Yi Chen. Luo Xinglia did not stop them. No matter if Yi Chen won or lost, being able to watch this battle would be a good thing for the disciples of the Sky Cloud Martial School. It would help them to have the competitive spirit. It was a short mountain in the middle of the mountains. It was less than 800 meters tall, covering 7 to 8 miles of land. There were rocks all over the mountain, and hardly any plants could be seen. On top of the short mountain, Yi Chen and Xigong Sheng stood facing each other, 100 meters apart. Around the short mountain, there were human figures everywhere. Some of them were standing on the 100-meter-tall ancient trees, while some of them were standing on the hills. There were also some people with good eyesight who had climbed up to the mountains that were a bit further away, looking down from above. Right then, almost half of the people from the Sky Cloud Martial School had gathered in the mountains behind them. "Who?" A dim light flashed through his storage ring, and 2 dark blue gloves appeared in Xigong Sheng's hands, shining with a cold light. Putting on the gloves, the half-step Jin Yuan inside Xigong Sheng's body exploded completely. The powerful pressure spread out in all directions, and the sparse trees on the short mountain were all uprooted and blown away. It was a horrifying scene. On the other side, Yi Chen placed his right hand on the sword hilt. His body was like a sword, and his aura was like a sword. The pressure brought by Xigongsheng's half-step Jinyuan had not even gotten close to Yichen before it was cut open by that powerful sword aura, creating a peaceful area. Let's fight. The light in his eyes had reached its limit. Xigongsheng took a step forward and appeared in front of Yi Chen within a second, throwing out a fist attack. Space Flash Step. Sky Tyrant Fist Attack. Right from the start, Xigongsheng had pushed his battling power to a new peak. It would be fine if he did not move, but once he moved, it would be like a tsunami that could shatter the sky. Green Lotus Light.
Chen.
Taking out his Star Scar sword, Yichen yelled with a low voice, blocking out Xigongsheng's fist attack. Crack. A huge crack appeared in between the two, spreading out at an extreme speed. Within a second, it had turned into a couple of miles long and 10 meters wide pitch-black gully. The mountain is cracked. Most of the disciples of the Sky Cloud Martial School had never seen such a horrifying battle before. The moment they clashed, the 800 meters tall mountain had been cracked open, and the ground had been shaken. All right, take another punch from me. Xigongsheng's eyes looked horrifying. His body shook once, and his half-step Jinyuan spread out, covering half of the mountain. Something shocking happened. The half of the mountain that had been cracked started to attack towards Yichen. Combined with Xigongsheng's powerful aura, he looked like a real battle god. Green Lotus Mountain Opening. Yichen did not back out. The Star Scar sword in his hand was waved up, and a waterfall-like sword chi shot out, cutting the half of the mountain that Xigongsheng was on in half. Rocks flew everywhere. Xigongsheng flew up into the sky, throwing out a punch. It was the ace attack of the Sky Tyrant Fist art, Sky Breaking Fist. Rumble. The other half of the mountain was completely shattered, and boulders of different sizes were thrown out in all directions, like a goddess scattering flowers. Watch out! Even the smallest of these rocks weighed tens of thousands of pounds, while the bigger ones were as big as a small hill. Most of the disciples of the Sky Cloud Martial School did not dare to fight against them alone. Dozens of people gathered together, attacking the rocks together. They looked shocked and excited at the same time. Stepping on a huge rock that had been thrown into the sky, Yichen thought to himself, he has indeed improved a lot. Before, this ace attack was not completed yet and was easily broken by my Kill Heart sword attack. But now it has been completed, and the only way left is to develop the mentality. After the completion of the Earth Realm martial arts, the warriors would have to study the mentality if they wanted to become more powerful. Astral-reaching realm warriors would not only be powerful in terms of cultivation, but their martial mentality would also be more powerful than clasping Yuan realm warriors. Take out your ace attack. Otherwise, the battle will be over soon. Xigongsheng also stepped on a huge rock in the sky, increasing the distance between him and Yichen. As you wish. Immortal Sky Shattering Clouds. Performing his separating shadow flying art, Yichen left the huge rock within a second, jumping into the area where Xigongsheng was. He was in the sky, throwing down a sword attack accompanied by a thunderlight.
Boom, 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 boom.
There were still a lot of huge rocks that had not hit the ground yet, still being thrown into the air. However, under Yi Chen's sword attack, they all exploded into pieces. Countless muddy yellow fireworks bloomed in the sky, looking extremely spectacular.
Break
for me. Xigongsheng performed his sky-shattering fist art again. That aggressive fist power shattered the incoming sword chi time after time. His body flashed once, as if he had completely ignored the distance. He suddenly appeared in front of Yi Chen, throwing out a punch that went through the air. Watch out! Some of the disciples from the Sky Cloud Martial School screamed. Xigongsheng's step art was extremely horrifying. It was like he was moving in a second, making it impossible for people to react. Yi Chen smiled lightly as he put up his left hand's index and middle fingers, pointing out in the air. Shoo! The bright blue sword chi shot out of his fingers, cutting through the surreal space. Sword chi coming out of his body. The fist power had been cancelled out, and Xigongsheng hurried to back out a couple of steps. In the next second, another beam of sword chi shot over. Although he had dodged fast, it still scratched his thigh, causing blood to pour out. In the sky, the elder who was standing on the back of the thunder beast frowned. He had expected to see a one-sided battle, but this Yichen was way more powerful than he had imagined. He had managed to tie with Sikong Sheng in the previous battle, and now, he had revealed another sword chi attack that had shot out from his fingers, forcibly gaining the upper hand. Losing 2 beams of Green Lotus sword chi, and still not gaining the upper hand. It seems like the gap between the realms of the martial arts is not that easy to make up for. Yichen could tell that Sikong Sheng's martial art had improved again. He estimated it to be around the 12th level, while his Green Lotus sword spell was only at the peak of the 9th level. Since it was a martial art suitable for sword artists, its power was equivalent to the 10th level. Combined with the 70% sword intent, it could barely break through Sikong Sheng's half-step protective Zhenyuan layer. However, it still wasted a little bit of time. Otherwise, with such a close distance, the Green Lotus sword chi would not have missed. If the Green Lotus sword spell had reached the 10th level, the 3 beams of Green Lotus sword chi would become 6, and then it would be much easier to win. The Green Lotus sword spell was divided into 15 levels. The 7th level could produce 3 beams of Green Lotus sword chi, the 10th level would produce 6 beams, and the 13th level would produce 9 beams. Once it reached the 14th level, the Green Lotus sword chi would transform into the Lotus Heart sword chi. Right now, Yichen was at the peak of the 9th level, and he had only produced 3 beams of Green Lotus sword chi. Glancing at the wound on his thigh, Sikong Sheng's eyes looked extremely serious. Yichen's improvement was out of his expectation. He could not believe that Yichen could still grow even stronger. Although he still had an unfinished ace attack that he had not performed yet, Yichen also had an ace attack. He would never forget the last battle of the Hidden Dragon rank, when Yichen had broken through his fist power with 1 sword attack and defeated him. Do not hold back anymore. Use the secret skill that can increase your battling power, the elder on the Thunder Beast suddenly said. Sikong Sheng nodded. Yichen, if this is all you have, then you will lose for sure. This time, I did not come here just to improve my power. Chapter 301. Yuan Magnetic Battle Body. The half-step protective Zhenyuan around Sikong Sheng shrunk suddenly, sticking to the surface of his skin. It was similar to Tua Baku's defensive martial art, but the only difference was that the half-step Zhenyuan on the surface of Sikong Sheng's body seemed to be covered with a layer of magnetic light, with tiny electric sparks flashing. The powerful attraction and repulsion power intertwined together, forming a very chaotic power field. This is a magnetic field. Yichen's pupils shrank. On Sikong Sheng's body, he sensed a completely different power field compared to Morong Qingqing's. TSS. 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 The half-step Zhenyuan started to vibrate at an extremely high speed. Sikong Sheng could feel that his power had increased by more than 30%. It was like he could blow up a 1,000 meters tall mountain with 1 punch and kill a warrior at the same level with 1 finger attack. Secret skills that could increase the battling power were extremely rare in this true spirit continent. Even the rank 6 martial institutions did not have such powerful secret skills. The Floating Mountain School did not have them before, but they did have the Yuan Magnetic Godly Iron, which contained an extremely powerful magnetic power. Inside the floating mountain, there was a small piece of Yuan Magnetic Godly Iron Essence, which contained extremely condensed magnetic power. According to the special effect of the Yuan Magnetic Godly Iron, the powerful warriors of the Floating Mountain School had spent a lot of effort to create a secret skill that could increase the battling power. Training this secret skill would not increase the battling power by itself. One would need to go inside the floating mountain and absorb a part of the magnetic power from the Yuan Magnetic Godly Iron Essence, then bind it inside the body and use it together with this secret skill. Because it was incomplete, the secret skill had a time limit. Once the magnetic power binding inside the body was used up, the battling power increasing effect would disappear as well. This time, before going to the Sky Cloud Martial School to challenge Yichen, Sikong Sheng had made a lot of preparations. Training the Yuan magnetic battle body and absorbing the magnetic power was one of his preparations, which was also the source of his confidence to win against Yi Chen. Fist Tyrant River. Without performing his Sky Tyrant Fist art, Xigong Sheng had only performed one ace attack. The aggressive power was like the air exploding, shaking the sky. An unparalleled pressure shot out, leaving a dozens of meters long and 3 to 4 meters wide vacuum mark in the air.
Boom.
The place where Yi Chen was exploded violently. The powerful vibration had triggered the electric current, making a sizzling sound. What a fierce fist force! Yi Chen's body turned into black smoke and disappeared with the wind. When he reappeared, he was already hundreds of meters away. Looking at Xigong Sheng's fist power, his expression turned serious. You can't escape. The Yuan magnetic battle body had boosted Xigong Sheng's speed to its limit. His feet slightly stepped out, and his whole body appeared right in front of Yi Chen within a second. His huge fists, which were covered by the dark blue gloves, shone with a chilling cold light and electric current as he threw out a punch. The air exploded again. The edges of Yi Chen's black smoke twisted slightly.
Puff.
A corner of the blue robe shattered into pieces.
Kill.
Naturally, Yi Chen would not be at a disadvantage. While he was moving, he turned around and slashed with his sword. The sword chi that was hundreds of feet long was like a giant axe that could split the sky. Xigong Sheng did not bother to dodge as he threw out a punch at the sword chi. With a cracking sound, the sword chi exploded. The extremely high frequency of vibration quickly exhausted the Immortal will contained in the sword chi, and it could no longer hold on for even a moment. Brother Yi has fallen into a disadvantage. The situation is not looking good. What can he do? Xigong Sheng has a secret art to increase his battling power, but Brother Yi does not. A rank 6 martial institution is indeed powerful. They even have a secret art to increase their battling power. Even if Brother Yi loses, it will not be because of his power. Hearing his disciples' discussion, Luo Xinglia's eyebrows frowned deeply. Yi Chen being able to get the upper hand in the beginning was already out of his expectation. He did not expect the situation to change so drastically. Xigong Sheng had used a secret art to increase his battling power. In this case, if Yi Chen wanted to win, he would have to use the secret art that he had used when fighting against the astral-reaching realm warriors. Thinking up to here, Luo Xinglia glanced at the core master of the floating mountain martial school who was standing on top of the thunder beast, feeling a bit worried. Whatever you have, use it all. I will shatter it one by one and let you admit your defeat. After shattering another incoming sword chi, Xigong Sheng floated in the air. His cold eyes locked onto Yi Chen, looking for the best opportunity to attack. His body flashed without any pattern. Yi Chen thought to himself, one kill heart sword attack. No, he must have a more powerful ace attack waiting for me. If I use it now, it will only hurt my spirit and will waste my battling power. The minor blood demon body separating great art would not work either. It was not the time to expose it yet. Once he used it, it would be troublesome if something happened. The elder on top of the thunder beast had scared him a lot. Then let's use the mysterious Zhen Yuan. Taking a deep breath, Yi Chen sunk his spirit into his dantian and quickly touched a drop of mysterious Zhen Yuan inside the Zhen Qi spiral, trying to pull it out. Not good. I can't pull out the mysterious Zhen Yuan. Although he looked calm, Yi Chen was shocked inside. He thought that even if he had trained the Green Lotus Zhen Qi, he would still be able to use the mysterious Zhen Yuan. But he did not expect it to go wrong. The mysterious Zhen Yuan did not listen to his command at all. It only shook a couple of times before it disappeared completely.
Kill.
Although there was no expression on Yi Chen's face, Xigong Sheng could tell that something was wrong from his movements. He took the chance immediately and threw out his fist, conquering the mountains. The surreal space tightened, and Yi Chen was trapped within it. The fist power that came after landed right in the middle of that area, fast and violent like thunder.
Dong.
The air vibrated like water, and the trees nearby started to fall down one after another. The blade-like chi flow tore the ground apart, bringing up waves of dirt. On a small mountain far away, Yi Chen looked down at his torn sleeves with a serious look on his face. It seemed like he would have to use his minor blood demon body separating great art this time. Haha, Yi Chen, why don't you use that sword attack? I will give you one more chance. If you don't use it now, I will beat you instantly. There was still more than half of the magnetic power inside his body, so Si Gongsheng was not worried about the possibility of his Yuan magnetic battle body running out. In the last battle of the Hidden Dragon rank, he had lost to Yi Chen's ace attack. Therefore, this time, he wanted to beat Yi Chen, who had performed his ace attack. Raising his head to look at Si Gongsheng, Yi Chen had a cold look on his face. A secret art that can increase battling power? I have it as well. Since you want me to use all of my power, then you should be prepared for the worst.
Crack.
The small mountain cracked open. Blood-red chi flow shot up into the sky, dyeing Yi Chen's clothes, hair, eyebrows, and pupils all red. His whole body looked like a bloody battle god, standing on top of the collapsing small mountain. His chi and blood are burning. This is... On the back of the Thunder Beast, the core master of the floating mountain martial school's expression changed. Luo Xinglia shook his head. He had used it after all. Oh well, it's better than being beaten by Si Gongsheng. On the cloud-drifting peak, Thunder Freer forced a smile, hoping that the core master of the floating mountain martial school would not ask about the origin of the minor blood demon body separating great art. Otherwise, even with the power of the Sky Cloud Martial School, they would not be able to compete with him. A late astral-reaching realm warrior from a rank 6 martial school was not something a normal late astral-reaching realm warrior could compete with. Without exaggerating, even 10 of him would be seeking death. Cloud Dreamer said hesitantly, I think there should be no big problem. The true spirit continent is extremely complicated. It is hard to avoid some secret martial arts. Even if this martial art is from Master Blood Demon, it should not link Yi Chen and Master Blood Demon together. I hope so. Thunder Freer had a bad feeling about this. His chi and blood were burning, and his green lotus shin chi was boiling. Yi Chen's battling power had increased drastically, and soon reached more than 50%. That kind of extremely violent power had ignited his battling intent. 2 beams of blood-red light shot out of his pupils, sharp like swords.
Cut.
His feet stomped on the ground, and the speed of the hill collapsing increased by 10 times. The powerful vibrating power had blown Yi Chen away, dragging a sharp red chi flow behind him. His body was like a sword, and his battling intent was like a sword. Yi Chen lifted up his Star Scar sword in the air and threw out a sword attack towards Si Gongsheng. Blood-red lightning flew everywhere. A twisting blood-red sword light tore open the air, creating a pitch-black vacuum tunnel. Sky-breaking fist. Si Gongsheng roared, pushing his Yuan magnetic battle body to its limit. Electric currents covered his whole body as he threw out a killing attack. Crack. Out of nowhere, dark clouds gathered above the mountains. A beam of lightning struck down, hitting right where the two had clashed. The balance had been broken, and Yi Chen had been blown out dozens of meters. His feet had left piles of blood-red patterns in the air. Compared to Yi Chen, Si Gongsheng had backed out for almost 100 meters. The advantages and disadvantages of the Yuan magnetic battle body and the minor blood demon body separating great art were obvious. What kind of secret skill is this? A shocked expression flashed through Si Gongsheng's face. He had experienced the power of the Yuan magnetic battle body, but his opponent's secret skill seemed to be even more powerful than the Yuan magnetic battle body. It was almost as brutal as burning his Shen Yuan. Taking a quick breath, Si Gongsheng forcefully pushed his half-step Shen Yuan, combining it with the magnetic power created by the essence of Yuan magnetic godly iron. He pushed his Yuan magnetic battle body even more violently. Electric currents appeared on his pitch-black hair, making a sizzling sound. Didn't you want to see my ace attack? Then I will show you. Stopping his backing out, the blood-red chi flow on Yi Chen's body suddenly expanded, looking like a burning blood-colored flame. He raised his Star Scar sword with both of his hands, pouring his mind into it along with his sword intent. He threw out a sword attack. The sword chi was like a pillar, piercing through the surreal space and arriving in front of Xikong within a second. Break. Sky-breaking earth-cracking. An electric current flashed through the surface of his pupils. Xikong stood in the surreal space steadily. The air behind him continued to shatter, creating cracks in the vacuum space. A heaven-shattering, poetic perspective spread out along with the powerful fist aura of the mysterious Sky Tyrant Fist, shattering everything.
Kalala.
After throwing out a fist attack, the mountain behind him could not handle the huge counterforce of his ace attack. It shook a little before shattering all of a sudden, causing dust to rise into the sky. It was almost within a second that the fist power and the sword chi clashed together, freezing right there. The sky was covered in dark clouds, thunder and lightning were everywhere. Countless lightning bolts struck down crazily, breaking the rocks and lighting up the trees. All of the Sky Cloud Martial School's disciples who were watching the battle were shocked. They had never seen such a powerful clasping Yuan realm warrior before, and they might not be able to see one again in their lives. Chapter 302. Shu. A weird cloth-tearing sound was heard. The Kill Heart Sword Chi, which contained the immortal mentality and sword intent, brutally pierced through Xikong's fist power, leaving behind a sharp and long pitch-black sword mark in the air. It then landed on Xikong's chest with an unstoppable force, blowing him away. However, although the sword Chi had pierced through the fist power, the aftermath of the exploding fist power still tore apart the air, creating layers of vacuum cracks. Countless vacuum cracks combined together, looking like a vacuum balsam flower blooming towards Yichin. Shoo,
Shoo.
shoo, shoo.
Shoo.
The range of the vacuum cracks was way too big. Even with his separating shadow art, Yichin could not avoid all of them. Without panicking, Yichin put up his left index and middle fingers, and the last Green Lotus sword chi shot out of his body, destroying one of the incoming vacuum cracks. As the vacuum cracks disappeared, Yichin looked in front of him. There was a collapsed hill, and a human-shaped crack could be vaguely seen.
Boom.
The hill exploded, and Xikong rushed out with blood dripping out of the corner of his mouth. Stepping on the ground, Xikong quickly calmed down his boiling qi and blood and his half-step Jinyuan. This time, he was able to block out the Kill Heart Sword Qi. Besides the fact that his fist power had cancelled out most of the power, it was also thanks to the chaotic force field created by his Yuan magnetic battle body, which had reduced the stability and destructive power of the Kill Heart Sword Qi. Of course, the half-step Jinyuan on the surface of his body was also one of his defensive methods, which was 30 to 40% more powerful than the normal half-step protective Jinyuan. Your ace attack can't do anything to me anymore. Plus, it seems like this sword attack can't be used too much.
Let me see what other ace attacks you have this time.
Winning or losing was very important to Xikong, and the luck that had been taken away was also very important. Xikong had never thought of giving up until the last second. The ground was cracked as Xikong shot up into the sky. His tightly clenched fist was covered in electricity as he threw out a punch, shaking up the entire sky. Then I will show you a new killer move, Green Lotus Sky. Taking a deep breath, Yichen's eyes were as calm as an ancient well. The Green Lotus Jin Qi inside his body had been pushed to its limit, pouring into his palm and into the Star Scar sword in a mysterious way. An extremely sharp blue chi flow appeared on the Star Scar sword, which then condensed into countless illusory blue lotuses.
Whoosh.
The sword attack seemed slow, but it was actually fast. The air strangely calmed down, as if the raging river had turned into a lake with no waves at all. On the surface of the lake, different-sized green lotuses started to grow at a speed faster than human eyes could see, which was exactly the same as the scene in the Hidden Dragon's secret realm. Xikong's powerful fist power entered the lake and seemed to have encountered a huge obstacle. Its speed became slower and slower, and its sharpness became fainter and fainter. Those green lotuses that were close to his fist power were like sharp swords that had been taken out of their sheaths, flying out one after another, turning into blue-colored sword chi and shooting out. What happened next was even more horrifying. The lake had been stimulated by the fist power and started to expand at an extreme speed, dragging Sheng into it. Countless green lotuses turned into sword chi and hacked on his body crazily, burning out the magnetic power and half-stepped Yuan inside his body. What kind of sword movement is this? Sheng was deep in the lake-like area, trying his best to defend against the endless sword chi that was shooting towards him. The magnetic power inside his body was decreasing at a much faster rate than before. If it continued like this, the Yuan magnetic battle body's effect would disappear completely. Green Lotus accumulation cut. The Green Lotus Sky was the ace attack of the Green Lotus sword art. It worked perfectly with the Green Lotus Shinchi, which was extremely mysterious. The immortal mentality contained in the sword intent seemed to have a nourishing effect on this ace attack, making the air even more stable, like a calm lake. Feeling the Green Lotus Zhen Qi inside his body being consumed at an extremely fast speed, Yichen did not dare to waste any time. He flicked his sword tip, lifting up the edge of the lake in the air. The next second, hundreds of green lotuses floated up in the air, merging together and forming into a huge green lotus. There were light purple lotuses on top of the green lotuses, surrounded by beams of blue chi flow, looking like blades.
Boom.
The huge green lotus spun a couple of times before attacking towards Sheng.
Pooh.
The consumption of the magnetic power had greatly decreased Sheng's defense, and the huge green lotus formed by the sharp chi flow was even more horrifying than the kill heart sword chi. It had broken through his defense instantly, shattering his half-step Yuan. As the remaining magnetic power leaked out, Sheng could no longer handle the power. He puked out a 3-meter-tall blood column, then was blown backward like a shooting star. The elder's face was dark like water. He controlled his Huang Thunder Beast to catch Sheng and put him on the back of the beast. He then turned around slowly, his expression changing continuously as he stared at Yichen. As one of the core masters of the Floating Mountain Martial School, the elder's name was Jin Huang, and people called him Jin Huang. He was extremely famous in the Grey Mystery Nation, and all the warriors from the Grey Mystery Nation would be scared when they saw him. The head disciple of his martial school had been beaten. No matter how good his temper was, he would still be a bit angry, not to mention that he was not a good-tempered person himself. Taking a deep breath, Yichen released his minor blood demon body separating great art. As the minor blood demon body separating great art was released, Yichen's spirits seemed to have dropped a lot. However, a stream of qi that was extremely hard to detect had been injected into his body through the air, making his condition much better. This is the Dragon Fountain Qi? Of course, he knew what Sheng's intention was. It was nothing more than to decide the winner and take back a part of the Dragon Fountain Qi. Although this was not a hidden dragon rank competition, if he lost, he would still lose a part of the Dragon Fountain Qi. Luckily, it would not be as exaggerated as the hidden dragon rank competition, since luck was something that was constantly changing. This time, if Sheng beat him, he would lose a part of the Dragon Fountain Qi, without a doubt. The Dragon Fountain Qi was equivalent to luck, but of course, luck was not necessarily the Dragon Fountain Qi.
Shoo.
Cloud Dreamer, who had always been quiet, appeared right next to Yichen. He laughed at Jin Huang. This year's young generation is indeed different. You have really opened my eyes. I am the great master of the Sky Cloud Martial School, Cloud Dreamer. I wonder who you are? Jin Huang said coldly, you do not need to know my name. But I have a question. What you have performed is the minor blood demon body separating great art. The last sentence was directed at Yichen. Cloud Dreamer's expression changed suddenly. The last thing he wanted to see had happened after all. He hurried to say, Yichen used to be a disciple of our Sky Cloud Martial School. Now he has become a master. He had some strange encounters in the past, and had gotten some messy martial arts and secret martial arts. Shut up. Jin Huang interrupted Cloud Dreamer and yelled at Yichen. I am asking you, are you training the minor blood demon body separating great art? So what if I am? So what if I am not? Yichen knew that there was no way for this to end well. His opponent was obviously targeting him. Even if he did not perform the minor blood demon body separating great art, he could not guarantee that there would not be any other problems.
Hee.
Jin Huang sneered. How dare you? Do you know how many people of our floating mountain martial school had been killed by Master Blood Demon? How many elders had died in his hands? Under such circumstances, you still dare to train the infamous minor blood demon body separating great art? Are you not putting our floating mountain martial school in your eyes? What a big accusation. Yi Chen said, which martial art in this true spirit continent has not been stained with blood and life? Are all martial arts unusable? You still dare to talk back? You are courting death. Without giving Yi Chen any chance to speak, Jin Huang put his finger on his thumb and flicked out a beam of golden light. Don't go too far, Cloud Dreamer roared, burning his Zhan Yuan all of a sudden. He blocked in front of Yi Chen and threw out a sword attack toward the finger light. At the same time, Thunder Freer also arrived. Nobody knew when he had already burned his Zhan Yuan, but he had also thrown out a claw attack toward the golden finger light. As the target of the opponent, how could Yi Chen just stand by and watch? He did not care that performing the minor blood demon body separating great art again would bring a huge damage to his body. His chi and blood burned fiercely as he coughed out a chunk of blood and threw out a kill heart sword attack. Rumble. The three of them were in their strongest state, but Taoist Jin Huang's strength was not something they could resist even if they joined forces. Even a wisp of his finger light could easily shatter their defenses and send them flying hundreds of meters away, coughing up 3 feet of blood. Walking down from the back of the thunder beast, Jin Huang stood in the midair with a cold look in his eyes. You three want to fight against me? You are courting death. Right now, I will give you a chance, and a chance to live. Hand over the minor blood demon body separating great art and break your own arms and legs. Then, I will let this matter go. Otherwise, I will kill the whole Sky Cloud Martial School. As soon as he said that, everyone in the Sky Cloud Martial School turned pale. They believed that Jin Huang could do it. A late astral-reaching realm warrior from a rank 6 martial school was extremely powerful. Even a normal late astral-reaching realm warrior would not be able to survive against him, not to mention them. Some of the people who had just joined had already started to run. Compared to their lives, the honor of the martial school was too far away from them. It was not worth it at all. Even if I, Cloud Dreamer, die, I will make you suffer for 3 days. Breaking their own arms and legs would be the same as cutting off their martial path, which would be even more painful than death. Cloud Dreamer, Thunder Freer, and Yi Chen were all ready to fight to the death, especially Cloud Dreamer. The burning Zhan Yuan outside of his body had become extremely unstable, showing signs of exploding. A horrifying chi spread out everywhere.
Shoo.
Yi Chen, who was bleeding from every orifice, blocked in front of Cloud Dreamer. He was the one who started all of this, so he should be the one risking his life. He had already died once, so what if he died again?
Come out.
Coughing out a piece of internal organ, Yi Chen crazily pushed his green lotus Zhen Qi, trying to draw out the mysterious Zhen Yuan from the Zhen Qi spiral. It seemed to be affected by Yi Chen's crazy emotions, as the mysterious Zhen Yuan that had been silent for a long time started to wriggle. The frequency was getting higher and higher, and the vibration was getting bigger and bigger. A wave of Zhen Yuan spread out, along with a violent, unstable element. It was because the mysterious Zhen Yuan was not pure, as 10% of it was green lotus Zhen Yuan. Since you want to die, then don't blame me. Jin Huang's eyes were filled with killing intent as he pointed out his finger again.
Pooh.
It was not Yi Chen who puked out blood, but Su Jing. Her body was slightly slim, and her white clothes were stained with blood. Both of her arms were hanging down, as if she had lost her bones. Chapter 303. Just like Yi Chen, Su Jing had chosen to go into closed-door training not long after she got back from the Hidden Dragon Ancient City. Because the battle between Yi Chen and Xigongsheng was way too loud, she decided to come out and see what was going on. When she arrived, the battle between Yi Chen and Xigongsheng had already ended. Jin Huang's aggressiveness had alerted her secretly, so she rushed over to help Yi Chen. Jin Huang had trained a gold element martial art. Even a casual finger attack from him would have the ability to break through anything. It had easily pierced through Su Jing's defense, breaking the bones in her arms inch by inch. It had all happened too fast. The mysterious Zhen Yuan inside Yi Chen's body had just been drawn out of his dantian. If he moved even a little bit, it would be all for naught. He could only watch Su Jing being blown hundreds of meters away. The good thing was that Zhu Mei had already caught up, blocking in front of Su Jing. Blood explosion spell, green lotus sky. With an angry growl, the bloody red Jin Qi outside of Yi Chen's body exploded violently. It was the most powerful ace attack of the minor blood demon body separating great art, and it also had the biggest backfire. Even Yuan Zonghua did not dare to use it, because once he used it, there was a 90% chance that he would be crippled, and a 30% chance of dying completely. It was extremely dangerous. Correspondingly, after using the blood explosion spell, Yi Chen's battling power had increased again, reaching more than 80%. It was almost the same as burning his Jin Yuan to increase his battling power. Not only that, the mysterious Zhen Yuan that had been poured into the meridians in his right arm had also been dyed red by the spell. In other words, the second he used the mysterious Zhen Yuan, Yi Chen's basic power would be similar to an early astral-reaching realm warrior. Combined with the 70% sword intent and the ace attack from the Green Lotus sword art, it would be possible for him to kill a mid-astral-reaching realm warrior. As for a late astral-reaching realm warrior, the result would be revealed soon.
Shoo.
The Star Scar sword in his hand was as heavy as a mountain. Yi Chen threw out a sword attack that looked slow, but was actually fast. The boiling air calmed down at an unnatural speed, turning into a dead silence. Then, countless green lotuses with a hint of red appeared, covering the entire sky. You dare to show off your insignificant skills in front of me?
Break.
Taoist Jin Huang snorted coldly. He raised his palm horizontally and slapped the void. A golden brilliance condensed into a giant palm, tearing apart the stagnant air, tearing apart countless green lotuses, and opening up a pitch-black vacuum passage. The vacuum passage seemed to contain a great gravitational force, sucking in everything around it.
Puff.
Yi Chen's 7 orifices were bleeding, and his body reeked of blood. Right then, Yi Chen's body suddenly shook. His Green Lotus Sword spell, which had been stuck at the peak of the 9th realm, had suddenly reached the 10th realm under the great pressure. At the same time, his cultivation had also made great progress. Not only had he reached the peak level late clasping Yuan realm, but he was also not far away from being able to purify his Jin Yuan. Yi Chen had finally understood that the more pressure there was, the more explosive power there would be. If he did not explode in silence, then he would die in silence. Green Lotus accumulation cut. Without showing any excitement, Yi Chen's eyes were resolute, locking onto Taoist Jin Huang like a hawk. Right then, his mysterious Zhen Yuan had already been poured into the Star Scar sword through the meridians in his arm. The Star Scar sword exploded with a bright light that could even dim the stars in the sky. Under the dazzling light, a fist-sized green lotus appeared on the tip of the sword. It was light purple in color, with strands of blood diamond-like qi flowing around its edge, easily cutting through the surreal space.
Shoo.
As Yi Chen's sword hacked down, the fist-sized green lotus shot out at a horrifying speed, leaving a perfectly straight black line in the surreal space. The black line did not disappear for a long time, extending for hundreds of meters, as if it had divided the whole space into 2 parts, one above and one below. It was extremely creepy. Not good. How can this kid have Zhen Yuan? If it were only Zhen Yuan, Taoist Jin Huang would not even spare a glance, as he could turn the opponent into ashes with a flick of his finger. However, Yi Chen had just used the blood explosion spell, combining his Zhen Yuan with his qi and blood, which was equivalent to burning his Zhen Yuan. His basic strength had increased drastically. Not only that, Yi Chen was also a sword artist who had comprehended 70% sword intent. With the two added together, Even the mid-astral reaching expert would have to suffer a grievance if they were careless. Moreover, he did not put the people from the Sky Cloud Martial School in his eyes at all, and had only used 50 to 60% of his Jinyuan, not to mention burning his Jinyuan. The current him could not even compare to a mid-astral reaching expert with his protective Jinyuan. If he were hit by this sword, even if he did not die, he would be crippled. The speed of the Green Lotus was too fast. Taoist Jin Huang did not have the time to thicken his protective Jinyuan, so he could only raise his right middle finger and point out. Gold Bright Finger. Gold Bright Finger was Taoist Jin Huang's famous martial art. Even if he used 50 to 60% of his strength, its might was not something an ordinary astral reaching expert could compare with. Shoo! The golden light streaked across the sky, colliding with the unceasingly revolving Green Lotus. There was no sound, nor any sound or light effect. The two tightly stuck together, without any sound or presence, as if they were two magnets. Everyone was somewhat unable to adapt. It was as if they clearly knew that thunder was about to strike, and they could already see the flickering of thunder and lightning, and they had already made all the preparations. Yet, when the lightning struck down, there was not the slightest sound of thunder, which was rather unbearable. It might have been an instant, or it might have been a long time. With a loud bang, a dazzling radiance soared into the sky, tearing apart the black clouds in the sky, tearing apart the thunder and lightning, unceasingly spurting out firepower. At first glance, it looked like a fan-shaped light screen, the starting point of which was precisely the point where the golden light and Green Lotus collided. With a loud bang, Yi Chun and Taoist Jin Huang were both blown back. The difference was that Yi Chun was blown back while spurting out blood, and his body seemed to have lost a lot of weight, becoming as thin as a stick. On the other hand, Taoist Jin Huang's face was slightly pale, and he slid back several hundred meters in the sky, without any injuries. The gap between the two was too big. Even if Yi Chun had surpassed his limits and burst out with the most powerful attack of his life, a gap was still a gap. Compared to Taoist Jin Huang, who had hastily counterattacked, he was still not his opponent. However, being able to push Taoist Jin Huang back several hundred meters was enough to prove Yi Chun's strength. Sky-shattering strike. Sky Thunder Strike. Cloud Dreamer and Thunder Freer bit their tongues, trying their best to recover from their absent-minded state. Their Jinyuan, which had been pushed to its peak, poured out without any regard for their lives, and performed their most powerful martial arts, attacking Taoist Jin Huang, who had just stabilized his body. Victory or defeat would be decided in this one move.
Ha!
No matter how many ants there are, they are still ants. This time, you will all die, and the Sky Cloud Martial School will be completely destroyed as well. Yi Chun's frontal attack had made Taoist Jin Huang's blood boil. He had to hold back his blood for a long time before he could swallow it back down. Seeing Cloud Dreamer and Thunder Freer seize this opportunity to attack him, Taoist Jin Huang was instantly enraged. He did not care about the fact that forcefully increasing his Jinyuan would bring a huge burden to his body, and threw out two-finger attacks with 70% of his Jinyuan.
Pooh. Pooh.
Although Cloud Dreamer and Thunder Freer's attacks were not as powerful as Yi Chun's attack, they should not be underestimated. However, this time, Taoist Jin Huang had used 70% of his Jinyuan, which was not something that the finger attack from before could compare with. Without any suspense, the two attacks had been shattered. Cloud Dreamer laughed bitterly. "Brother Thunder, please take away all the people that you can, especially Yi Chun. Leave a route for our Sky Cloud Martial School, a lifeline. Do not let our last hope die. Otherwise, I, Cloud Dreamer, will not be able to face all the previous leaders of the Sky Cloud Martial School.
I will not be satisfied even if I die."
The last sentence was almost yelled out by Cloud Dreamer. Thunder Freer's expression changed. "Cloud Dreamer, what are you doing? Hurry up. There is no time. I will use my last drop of blood to stall him." Cloud Dreamer was already extremely unstable. His exploding Jinyuan had been completely messed up, and he could no longer calm himself down. His whole body was like a container filled with gunpowder, ready to explode at any second. Thunderfreer shook his head and sighed. He was ready to die as he said to Cloud Dreamer, "There is no more chance." "Look." Cloud Dreamer followed Thunderfreer's gaze and saw Yichen, who was covered in blood, flying back. His robe was stained with blood, and so was his hair. "Senior Cloud Dreamer, Senior Thunderfreer, I know what you are thinking, but I can't back out, and I can't run away. If I were to sacrifice the whole Sky Cloud Martial School for my life, then what would be the point of me staying alive? The scary heart demon will stop me from reaching the life and death realm for the rest of my life, and I will not live up to your expectations. I do not want to carry such a heavy burden. Since the day I, Yichen, picked up my sword, I have never thought about running away, and I have never thought about letting someone else die for me. This is all because of me, and I will be the one to end it. You don't need to try to persuade me. I have made up my mind." As he spoke, Yichen took out a huge amount of blood sunflowers and swallowed them. He then performed his blood explosion spell without caring about his own life. Right then, his mind had never been this resolute, and his will had never been this strong. The sword intent kept rising up into the sky, and it seemed to be endless. Such a horrifying sword intent had already surpassed his body's limit, and his skin started to crack. Peak 70% sword intent. No, it should be 80% sword intent. Jin Huang gasped as he screamed in his mind. This kid can't be left alive, or he'll become a huge threat. Right now, he was already scared. If he could not kill Yichen today, he would have nightmares for the rest of his life.
Woo, woo, woo.
A lot of Sky Cloud Martial School's female disciples started crying, while the male disciples' eyes became more and more determined. "Wu Ming, I want to go up and fight. What do you think?" Zhang Haoran, who was only at the peak of late condensing reality realm, took a step forward and flew into the sky. Wu Ming laughed out loud. "Zhang Haoran, don't look down on me. Do you think I, Wu Ming, am afraid of death?" Unknowingly, all of the Sky Cloud Martial School's disciples had gathered together. Those who could fly stood next to Cloud Dreamer and the rest, while those who couldn't stood on the ground. At this moment, the Sky Cloud Martial School was unprecedentedly united and powerful. Everyone's mind naturally gathered together, eventually turning into a fighting spirit that would rather die than surrender. "Zhu Mei, let's go up." Being held in Zhu Mei's arms weakly, Su Jing said in a low voice. Zhu Mei had tears in her eyes as she slightly nodded. Lu Hanshan chuckled, but no one knew what he was laughing about. They only knew that his smile was bright and gentle as he flew into the sky together with Zhu Mei. Looking at the crowd of Sky Cloud Martial School's disciples, Jin Huang was in a bad mood. He had never seen a situation like this before. In his mind, the Sky Cloud Martial School should be in a desperate situation. "Then, all of you, dies," Jin Huang roared out. His Zhenyuan started to burn fiercely, and an extremely horrifying aura swept out, condensing into a hurricane that tore the ground apart and collapsed mountains. That golden fiery light looked like a golden sun. Golden sun splitting. An extremely condensed light ball condensed on his fingertip. Jin Huang believed that once this light ball exploded, no matter how many people there were, they would all die. Sigh. Right at this moment, a sigh was heard. It seemed to be right next to everyone's ears, but also seemed to be far away from the sky. It kept lingering in the air and vibrating. Right after that, the gray sky suddenly cleared up. In everyone's sight, a mountain-sized huge hand pressed down, covering the sun and the sky. The fingerprint on the palm was so clear that even the heaven and earth were shaken. Chapter 304. Retracting his finger, Taoist Jin Huang's eyes widened as he roared, "Impossible! How could Sky Cloud Martial School have this kind of background? Impossible! Who are you? Why are you meddling in this matter? My floating mountain martial school has no enmity with you. Please don't do anything." Taoist Jin Huang couldn't sense the aura of the owner of the huge hand at all. Therefore, there were only two possibilities. First, the opponent had entered the Sea of Soul's realm, and his Zhenyuan had turned into an ocean, returning to the origin. Second, the opponent had entered the even more frightening life and death realm. Once one entered the life and death realm, the difference between heaven and earth would be completely different. Regardless of which possibility it was not something that Taoist Jin Huang could contend against. The former was still manageable, since at least the Floating Mountain School had Sea of Souls realm warriors, and not just one or two of them. However, if it was the latter, then the entire Floating Mountain School would not even be able to withstand one finger of the opponent. Life and Death realm warriors were called kings, and it was not without reason. They were the kings of the martial artists and represented the world's will of the true spirit continent. Without Life and Death realm warriors, no matter how powerful one was, it would be useless. The speed of the huge hand was not that fast, as if its owner was not serious. However, in Taoist Jin Huang's eyes, the sky was no longer the sky, and the earth was no longer the earth. The mountains behind Sky Cloud Martial School were all under the control of the huge hand. Seeing that the opponent had no intention of stopping, Taoist Jin Huang's heart was filled with boundless fear. Not caring about the Huang Thunder Beast and Xigongsheng, he extended his body and flew away at an extreme speed. With a flicker, he appeared 7 to 8 li away, like a small sun that was constantly jumping. Humph! With a cold snort, the thumb and index finger of the sky-covering hand began to close together. When it was only 10 feet away, the fleeing Taoist Jin Huang seemed to have walked right into a trap. He was imprisoned within, unable to move or even struggle. I am not willing.
These people are only ants.
I will kill them if I want to. Taoist Jin Huang mustered his remaining strength, burning his Zhan Yuan fiercely, trying to escape. Everyone from the Sky Cloud Martial School was stupefied. The previously insufferably arrogant Taoist Jin Huang was currently being clamped by 2 sky-reaching fingers. His face was full of fright and anger, as if he was a headless fly, which brought a huge contrast to their vision. They all thought, who is the owner of this sky-covering hand? Even a late astral-reaching expert has been casually pinched by him. This level of strength is already not something that can be imagined. Don't worry, I won't kill you with my own hands. You're not worth my life. Now, get the hell out of the Sky Cloud Martial School. Get the hell out of the Windy Nation. If you dare to take another step forward in this life, you will die for sure. Also, go back and tell the leader of the Floating Mountain sect that this is just a small warning. If he dares to offend you again, the Floating Mountain sect will be destroyed, and the 10,000 years of foundation of the Azure Emperor and the Stone Emperor will be destroyed. Do you hear me? Only Taoist Jin Huang could hear the voice of the owner of that sky-covering hand. However, it was not a human voice, but the sound of the air vibrating. It was similar to Zhen Qi sound transmission, but 10 times more advanced than Zhen Qi sound transmission. Astral-reaching realm warriors would never be able to do it. You won't kill me? Taoist Jin Huang stopped struggling. He knew that no matter how hard he struggled, it would be useless. If the opponent wanted to kill him, it would only take a single thought. His evil eyes landed on Yi Chen's body. Taoist Jin Huang sneered inwardly, so it is not because of your backer. If you were, you would not let me go, because if you let me go, once Yi Chen leaves the Windy Nation, I would be able to hunt him down. Anyway, the owner of that sky-covering hand did not say that he was not allowed to kill Yi Chen. He only said that he was not allowed to enter the Windy Nation. It seems like the gods want you dead. Within 5 years, you will never have the power to fight against me. And if you want to continue growing, you will have to leave the Windy Nation. This is an endless cycle. There is only death. How about I let you go for now? Although Taoist Jin Huang was afraid of Yi Chen's potential, he did not think that Yi Chen would be able to surpass him within 5 years. There would be plenty of chances to kill him. There was no need to risk his own life. Senior, I promise that I will never step into the Windy Nation or the Sky Cloud Martial School for the rest of my life. Taoist Jin Huang said with a loud voice. The huge hand made of Yuan Qi loosened, and the air around Taoist Jin Huang's ears vibrated again. Piss off. I might change my mind at any time. Hearing him, Taoist Jin Huang's expression changed. He seemed to be afraid that the owner of the huge hand would change his mind and kill him for good. He hurriedly jumped onto the back of the thunder beast and commanded it to fly away. Within a blink of an eye, they disappeared into the clouds. You didn't kill him? It would be a lie if Cloud Dreamer and Thunder Freer said that they were not disappointed. Of course, they did not dare to complain about the owner of the huge hand. Without him, the Sky Cloud Martial School would have been completely destroyed. There would not have been a second possibility. A late astral-reaching realm warrior from a rank 6 martial school would already be considered as a top warrior in the whole South River region. Under the Sea of Souls realm, he would be above hundreds of thousands of people. Not good. I can't control my Zhenyuan anymore. Although he had relaxed a bit, Cloud Dreamer still could not control his own Zhenyuan. Once his Zhenyuan exploded, there would be nothing left of him, and everything within 10 miles would be destroyed. This was a secret art that he had obtained by chance. Once he used it, there would be no way to change it. Thunder Freer noticed the aura that was about to explode from Cloud Dreamer's body, so he was shocked. Cloud Dreamer had told him about this secret art. This time, he had to use it during the battle with Daoist Jin Huang. However, Daoist Jin Huang had already left, so his death would be meaningless.
Shoo!
Something strange happened. One of the fingers of the huge hand reached out and lightly touched on Cloud Dreamer's protective Zhenyuan. The wind started to blow, and the clouds disappeared. The next second, Cloud Dreamer's aura disappeared, and the Jade Destruction's secret art returned to its original state. The explosive aura disappeared completely. Thank you, seniors. Cloud Dreamer cupped his fists and bowed toward the huge hand. The air vibrated. No need to thank me. Actually, I wanted to save Yi Chen. But Yi Chen's relationship with the Sky Cloud Martial School was too deep. This whole thing was caused by him. Senior, how can I not thank you? Cloud Dreamer obviously could not just say no, since the other had not only saved him, but the entire Sky Cloud Martial School. Even if the other asked him to kill himself right now, he would do it. The Sky Cloud Martial School was in his hands, and this kind of feeling was not something normal people could understand. The owner of the huge hand did not say anything, and his voice moved to Yi Chen's ears. Are you wondering why I didn't kill Daoist Jin Huang? The blood explosion art disappeared automatically. Yi Chen's body was covered in blood as he said weakly, Senior, you should have your own plan. Yi Chen can guess a little bit.
Oh, tell me.
Senior, you want me to take revenge myself and get rid of my inner demon? The air vibrated a bit unsteadily.
You are right.
I did have this intention. The path of a warrior is to overcome all obstacles, and no impurities can be tolerated. Today's incident had a great impact on you. If you could not kill Daoist Jin Huang yourself, it would be a huge hindrance to your cultivation. Plus, you are a sword artist who had comprehended the sword intent, so you could not back down. Killing Daoist Jin Huang was like helping you choose to back down. This is not what I want to see, nor is it what you want to see. Therefore, you can take Daoist Jin Huang's life. As for whether you can kill him or not, it will depend on your own ability. I will not help you for the same thing twice. Yi Chen said, Thank you, Senior, for your help. I will kill Daoist Jin Huang with my own hands, and no one can stop me. As for his death, it means that I am not qualified to step into a higher realm. Very good. I like your calmness. I hope you can keep it up. Do not be blinded by hatred. The path of a warrior is not just about hatred. Senior, you are? Don't ask, and don't think about it. I will tell you when I need to. I have my reasons for not telling you, and it is also the reason why I did not show up. Yi Chen is too reckless. You are badly wounded. The minor blood demon body separating great art is not a secret skill for warriors. It is an incomplete secret skill created by the blood demon master based on the blood demon doppelganger. Without the doppelganger, every time you use it, you will lose your chi and blood. Normal medicines will not be able to help you recover completely. You will have to deal with this yourself. I will not give you any material help. Yi Chen knows. The minor blood demon body separating great art was a huge burden on the body. Although the qi and blood that was consumed could be replenished by the blood sunflower was not omnipotent. It could be used once or twice, but if it was used too many times, then it would have to be nurtured for a while. Otherwise, there would be a horrifying side effect. This time, in order to fight against Taoist Jin Huang, Yichen had even performed the ultimate skill of the minor blood demon body separating great art, the blood explosion great art. It was almost as powerful as the major blood demon body separating great art, but the side effect was extremely huge. If it were not for the fact that Yi Chen's body was extremely powerful and that he had trained the pure Jade body boosting spell to the 5th level, the King Kong Jade body boosting spell, he would have been crippled even if he did not die. As for the help from the owner of the sky-covering palm, Yi Chen had never thought about it. Everyone's path of being a martial artist was right under their feet, and others would not be able to help them. If they helped him, then they might end up harming him instead. If one did not understand the pain, then how could one understand the sweetness after the pain? Of course, Yi Chen was not worried about the side effects, since he still had a 3,000 years old blood sunflower in his storage ring, which was 10 times more powerful than the 1,000 years old one. As long as his qi and blood did not run out, it would not be a big problem to get rid of the side effects. However, Su Jing's injury was giving him a headache. The broken bones in her arm and the broken bones in her arm were two completely different things. Without great treasures, it would be very hard to heal. He could imagine the pain of having a whole bone broken into countless pieces. The owner of the sky-covering palm seemed to have guessed Yi Chen's thoughts. I will not help that girl with the broken bones in her arm either. She is very talented and has a great chance to achieve great things in the future. This is not a bad thing for her. In fact, have you realized that the whole Sky Cloud Martial School has changed because of this? This is the rise of the Sky Cloud Martial School. It is the beginning of the Sky Cloud Martial School's rise. Yi Chen nodded. During that bloody battle, he was very touched by what people from the Sky Cloud Martial School had done. They were obviously very weak and could not help at all, but they still stood out without any hesitation, willing to live and die with the Sky Cloud Martial School. This kind of fearlessness was not something that a powerful martial school could achieve. He believed that in the future, the Sky Cloud Martial School would definitely grow and become a super martial school in the South Ridra region. Since this is done, I will not stay any longer. Remember, the path of a martial artist is like sailing against the current. Only by keeping your heart will you be able to move forward. The sky-covering palm disappeared, and the voice disappeared slowly. Taking a deep breath, Yi Chen turned around to look at the crowd. In his sight, everyone was looking at him, and he was also looking at them. The eye contact did not require words. This is my second home. As the thought flashed through his mind, Yi Chen raised his head and fell down from the sky. It was a miracle for him to be able to last until now. But now, the miracle was over. Chapter 305. Shocking Cloud Peak. Inside a spacious room, Yi Chen, who was wrapped in bandages, crawled out of bed. He was already 18 years old, but he was no longer childish. His slightly skinny body was not weak at all. The tightly wrapped bandages showed his well-defined muscles, which were full of explosive power. It was as if his body was made of steel. He raised his arm, but it was still weak. This was a sign of excessive loss of qi and blood, and a great loss of vitality. Yi Chen shook his head and thought to himself, the blood explosion spell is too powerful. It made me unconscious for 7 days and 7 nights. Fortunately, my body was strong enough, so I did not lose my qi and blood, and my meridians were not destroyed. Otherwise, it would not be easy to recover. Yi Chen had not used the 3,000-year-old blood sunflower yet, so he was not sure how effective it was. He planned to use it in a day or 2 when he was full of energy. Pushing open the door, Yi Chen came to the yard. The courtyard was no different from an ordinary family's courtyard. It wasn't too big, and it wasn't extravagant either. Opposite, it was a flower bed with dozens of beautiful flowers, including a few young blood sunflowers. Next to the flower bed was a row of sunflowers. They were taller than the courtyard wall, and they were in full bloom facing the blazing sun. Bang, bang. After standing in the yard for a while, there was a knock on the door. Looking away, Yichen said, "Come in."
Creak.
The yard door, which was not locked, opened. Zhang Haoren and Wu Zongming walked in. "Yichen, are you all right?" It was Wu Zongming's first time coming to the shocking Cloud Peak. He looked around and found that other than the Great Elder's Hall, the other buildings were very ordinary. They could not even be considered as the mansion of an ordinary landlord. Yichen smiled and said, "It's you too." "I'm all right." Wu Zongming laughed. "It's good that you're all right."
I thought there would be some side effects.
That day, Yichen looked too scary. He was covered in blood, and his muscles were cracked. The loss of qi and blood made Wu Zongming wonder if Yichen had that much qi and blood. At this moment, Zhang Haoren said, "I'm here to apologize." "Apologize for what?" Yichen was surprised. Wu Zongming interrupted, "He's a stubborn man. We had a grudge in the past, and he always wanted to apologize. In my opinion, apologizing between men is too mushy. Besides, it's been so long. Why would we care about each other's frivolity when we were young?" 14 or 15 years old was the most impulsive age. At that age, they were very competitive and aggressive. It was inevitable that there would be conflicts and friction. If they were not careful, they would become enemies. Fortunately, there was not much conflict between the three of them. They just disagreed with each other. Yichen smiled. Wu Zongming is right. Everyone is frivolous. Zhang Haoren said seriously, "It's different this time. It's an official apology." "All right, I accept your apology." When dealing with a stubborn person, Yichen could not be in a deadlock with him, so he accepted the other party's apology. The three of them drank some tea and chatted casually. After about an hour, the two of them bid farewell. As soon as Zhang Haoren and Wu Zongming left, Luo Hanshan, Zhu Mei, and Su Jing arrived. "Yichen, are you all right?" Luo Hanshan asked. "Except for a bit of weakness, I'm fine." Yichen's wounds were actually quite serious. But of course, with the help of the 3,000 years old blood sunflower, it was indeed not a big deal. He looked at Su Jing and saw that her arms were wrapped in bandages, hanging weakly on her waist. Yichen said gently, "Does it hurt?" Su Jing's face blushed slightly. "Not at all." Yichen didn't say anything to express his gratitude. He knew that it would be too polite, and she would not want to hear it either. True gratitude did not need to be expressed, as long as it was in his heart. It was enough. Taking out 10 800 years old blood sunflowers and 2,000 years old blood sunflowers from his storage ring, Yichen said, "You are cultivating a body-strengthening art, which requires enough qi and blood. These blood sunflowers are very beneficial to your qi and blood, so don't say no." After saying that, he grabbed Su Jing's slim hand and put the blood sunflowers into her storage ring. Su Jing lowered her head and bit her lower lip. Seeing this, a smile appeared on Zhu Mei's face. It was a smile that contained a trace of envy. Not good. Holding Su Jing's soft and boneless hand, Yichen wanted to check her injury. Her arm was almost boneless, and it was only connected by her qi and blood, so it was hard to describe how soft and boneless it was. If an ordinary martial artist were to suffer such a serious injury, they would basically be ruined for the rest of their lives. Fortunately, Su Jing had been cultivating a body-strengthening art, which gave her a powerful qi and blood. Therefore, the broken bones were healing at an almost imperceptible speed. However, if the bones were to heal on their own, it would take at least 3 to 5 years for them to fully recover. Moreover, even if they were fully healed, they would not be able to do any strenuous exercises, not to mention training martial arts. Frowning, Yichen was thinking about going out to look for some natural treasures that could heal bones. Although these natural treasures were even rarer than the 3,000 years old blood sunflowers, they were still available. But of course, it was not the right time yet. He was still too weak, and he had a powerful enemy like Jin Huang. Without being fully prepared, he would not be able to leave the Windy Nation for the time being. Luo Han winked at Yi Chun and said, Zhu Mei and I still have something to do. You guys go ahead, I'll come to see you when I have time. After saying that, he left the yard with Zhu Mei. Yi Chun let out a bitter smile. Su Jing, who was sitting in front of him, had her head almost touching her chest. He had to find something to talk about, otherwise it would be very awkward. Do you still remember that time when I came back from the Northwest Auction House? I borrowed your hand to train my body's strengthening art. After thinking for a while, Yi Chun started talking about the past.
Yeah.
Su Jing listened quietly. The sky was getting dark. Yi Chun walked Su Jing to the mountaintop where Yi Chun lived. The night passed without any words. The next afternoon, the room was filled with a bright blood-golden aura. This aura was extremely strong. With just a single sniff, Yi Chun would feel warm and refreshed. In Yi Chun's sight, there was a water tank-sized lump of mud on the floor of the room. The mud was completely covered by the blood-golden color and was slightly translucent. Through the translucent mud, Yi Chun could see a palm-sized blood sunflower growing in it. The blood sunflower had a rich blood-golden color. It looked like gold or jade. It was shining brightly. It's time for me to use you. Using his Zhen Qi like a blade, Yi Chun cut open the mud and took out the 3,000 years old blood sunflower. Tearing off a small petal, Yi Chun took a deep breath and swallowed it. He then sat cross-legged on the bed and started to refine the medicinal energy. 3 days passed, and a blood-golden aura appeared on Yi Chun's body. Strands of it were like ribbons. This was the sign of the excess medicinal energy leaking out, as expected of a 3,000 years old blood sunflower. I still underestimated its medicinal energy. Just a small petal was able to completely replenish my qi and blood, and even improve it to the next level. What a pity that some of the medicinal energy leaked out and was wasted. Opening his eyes, Yi Chun had a regretful expression on his face. If it were Su Jing, then this would not have happened. It seemed like he would have to find a chance to send some over. After 7 months of closed-door training, Su Jing's strength had already crossed the 100,000 pounds threshold, leaving Yi Chun far behind. Her qi and blood were so powerful that even astral-reaching realm warriors would not be able to compete with her. If it were not for the minor blood demon body separating great art, he would have given her all of it. However, although my qi and blood have been replenished, the side effects are not completely gone. The blood explosion great art is not just a little bit harmful to martial artists. Yi Chun was not in a hurry. Sometimes he would have to bear the consequences. It was something that could not be avoided. A lot of thoughts flashed through his mind as Yi Chun started to think about his own power. In terms of cultivation, he had reached the peak level of late clasping Yuan realm and was not far away from purifying Jin Yuan. It was a huge improvement, as his basic power would not be at a disadvantage for warriors below the astral reaching realm. In terms of martial arts, his Green Lotus Sword spell had already reached the 10th level, and he had condensed 6 beams of Green Lotus Sword Qi in his body. Each beam was extremely powerful, and combined with his sword intent, he would be able to beat Yan Qihua and the others. Besides his cultivation and martial arts, the biggest breakthrough was his sword intent. Once the sword intent reached the late stage, each breakthrough would be extremely rare. As his sword intent reached the 80%, Yi Chun's overall power had increased drastically again. He already had the battling power to kill a peak-level early astral-reaching realm warrior, and he would be able to fight against a normal mid-astral-reaching realm warrior. Before, with his mysterious Zhan Yuan and 70% sword intent, Yi Chun might be able to tear apart the defense of a mid-astral-reaching realm warrior, but his opponent was not a block of wood that would let him attack. Therefore, if he encountered a mid-astral-reaching realm warrior, he would not have any chance of winning. Instead, the possibility of him dying would be very high. Although right now, he might not be able to win against a mid-astral-reaching realm warrior, he would be able to fight against him for a while. My cultivation will not improve in a short period of time. My 80% sword intent has not stabilized yet. Right now, I will close up and train my Green Lotus Sword spell. Yi Chun was very clear that the higher the cultivation realm, The earlier one could step into the Zhenyuan refining stage, and the faster the refining process would be. Right now, what he lacked was nothing else but cultivation base. If his cultivation base had been at early astral reaching realm during the bloody battle with Taoist Jin Huang, he would have been able to fight for a long time, and Su Jing wouldn't have broken the bones in her arms, temporarily crippling her. Cultivation is the way to go. Nothing else can be relied on. Sighing, Yichen decided to continue his closed-up training. He would train his Green Lotus Sword spell to a higher realm first. Once he had enough basic power, he would think about other things. Before his closed-up training, Yichen went to the Misty Peak to talk to Cloud Dreamer and Thunder Freer. The two were his seniors and had helped him a lot. In this bloody battle, it was also thanks to their help. Cloud Dreamer had almost exploded himself, so it would not be right if he did not greet them. Seeing Yichen recover so fast, Cloud Dreamer and Thunder Freer were very happy. They thought that it would take at least a year and a half for Yichen to recover. Hearing that Yichen was going to continue his closed-up training, the two reminded him not to be too impatient because of the hatred in front of him. He needed to increase his power. Yichen told them not to worry. He had already planned for this closed-up training. In fact, if Jin Huang and Xigong Sheng had not come to the Sky Cloud Martial School, Yichen was planning to train for a year before coming out. Saying goodbye to the two, Yichen went to notify Su Jing and the rest before returning to the shocking Cloud Mountain and entering the training room inside the mountain. Chapter 306. His Green Lotus Sword spell had reached the 10th realm under the pressure, but it was not that simple. Sometimes, the breakthrough of a martial art required not only the comprehensive ability, but also the explosive power. When the explosive power had nowhere to go, it would naturally follow the best path. But of course, one could not expect to be this lucky every time. Most of the time, the breakthrough of a martial art would have to be done step by step. Looking forward to the next 3 steps, hoping for luck to come would be short-sighted after all. My body has almost recovered. Closing up should be no problem. The 3,000 years old blood sunflower was way too powerful. Even though he had lost a part of it, there was still a lot of it hidden deep inside his body, constantly nourishing his qi and blood. Right now, Yichen had to pay close attention to be able to sense some slight discomfort, which was slowly disappearing. Sitting on the stone platform with his legs crossed, he took out 2 mid-rank soul stones and held them in his hands, then closed his eyes. While Yichen was closing up, the Sky Cloud Martial School had started a big reorganization. This time, there were a lot of people who had run away from the Jin Huang incident. Among them, there were more than 1,000 outer disciples, 100 inner disciples, 50 outer masters, and 4 inner masters. Most of them had just joined the Sky Cloud Martial School, and they were not loyal enough yet. Therefore, Luo Xinglia decided to give those disciples a chance. They were still young after all, and their loyalty could be trained slowly. It was understandable that they would run away in a life-and-death situation. However, the elders who had run away would not be so lucky. If they lost this chance, they would never be able to join the Sky Cloud Martial School again. Especially the 4 inner masters, they had lived in the Sky Cloud Martial School for more than 10 years. Running away like this would make a lot of people feel ashamed. In the main hall, Luo Xinglia looked at Luo Hanshan and Zhu Mei, who were sitting in the middle of the hall. He cleared his throat and said, "Hanshan, Zhu Mei, you two have reached the clasping yuan realm for a long time. It is not suitable for you to continue being the core disciples. Right now, there are some vacancies for the inner masters. Do you have any objections?" The requirement to become an inner master in the Sky Cloud Martial School was relatively low. As long as one had proven his power, he or she could become an inner master as long as they were at the mid-clasping yuan realm. Although Luo Hanshan and Zhu Mei were only at the early clasping yuan realm, their battling power was at the same level as mid-clasping yuan realm warriors. Hanshan is fine. Zhu Mei has no objections either. Indeed, the two of them did not have any objections. Now that Yi Chan was a Grand Elder and Su Jing was a Core Elder, their statuses were extremely high. In formal occasions, they had to greet the two of them respectfully, which made them very uncomfortable. Now that they had become inner elders, the awkwardness was solved. Keep working hard. The Sky Cloud Martial School still needs you to survive. Yi Chen and Su Jing will most likely leave the Sky Cloud Martial School to train themselves. They will not be able to stay in the Sky Cloud Martial School for long. Luo Xinglia nodded. Lu Hanshan and Zhu Mei glanced at each other. A bitter smile appeared on their faces. It was not that they couldn't go out to train themselves, but in order to go to a bigger place, they would need to be qualified. For example, the Clasping Yuan realm martial artists of the Windy Nation would basically stay in the Windy Nation to train themselves in a small area. Very few of them would go to other nations, and the same was true for the martial artists of other nations. Normally, the weaker a martial artist was, the smaller the area he could train himself in. In order to break this rule, a martial artist would have to have an extremely great potential, which would allow him to grow stronger quickly in a dangerous situation. Otherwise, even if he was one step late, he would be in mortal danger. They were clearly aware of their own potential, and even if they could barely survive, it would still be very difficult for them to grow stronger quickly. Instead of risking their lives, they would rather stay in the Windy Nation and occasionally go to other nations to train themselves. All of the martial geniuses were like a group of fish swimming against the current. After a while, there would be a group of fish that would fall behind, and after a while, there would be another group that would fall behind. The ones who could actually swim to the top could be counted on one hand. Yi Chun and Su Jing were, without a doubt, the leaders of this group of fish. The distance between them was getting further and further, and eventually, they were out of their sight. The mountain peak was steep, and the wind was fierce. Su Jing, who was dressed in white, stood in the knife-like wind, wholeheartedly practicing her martial arts. Of course, since her arms were already crippled, it was impossible for her to practice fist arts. Instead, she practiced leg arts and lightness skills. It seemed to be caused by her personality and the martial arts she practiced. In the hands of Su Jing, any martial arts would become as powerful as a thunderbolt, full of power. Together with her slender and graceful figure, she gave people a unique feeling, like a small white flower in the cold winter. The biting cold wind was kicked away by the sharp knife-like leg force, and the angular mountain peak was flattened. Su Jing's figure was sometimes fast and sometimes slow. When she was fast, she was like a shooting star, and when she was slow, she was like a floating paper crane. The combination of the two was quite harmonious, showing her extraordinary control over her body. Break. The leg force was like a knife. Su Jing's leg chopped down diagonally, hitting the edge of the mountain peak. With a cracking sound, a piece of the huge mountain peak was cut off. The cut surface was smooth and flat, and it was impossible to tell that it was caused by the leg force. Before he knew it, 2 months had passed, and Yi Chen was still in closed-up training. During this period of time, a few big things had happened in the Sky Cloud Martial School. The annual Inner Disciple Ranking Competition had just finished, and a lot of talented disciples had been discovered. The core disciples had increased from 20 to 30, and among them, 3 had reached the Clasping Yuan realm one after another. The reason they could reach the Clasping Yuan realm was more or less because of the Dragon Fountain Qi. But more importantly, it was because they had decided to fight against Jin Huang, which had affected them a lot. Every single one of them could feel that their will had been strengthened, and it was hard to be shaken. Shocking Cloud Mountain inside the spacious secret room, Yi Chen slowly let out a breath. The breath was like a stream of soft sword qi, shooting through the wall in front of him. I have reached the 11th realm of the Green Lotus Sword spell, and it took me even less time to reach the 8th realm from the 7th realm. According to Yi Chen's original estimation, reaching the 11th realm within half a year would already be very impressive. After the 10th realm of a top-rank Earth realm martial art, the next realm would get harder and harder to train. A lot of people would be stuck at the 10th realm for their entire lives, unable to make any progress. Some of the astral-reaching realm warriors who had trained top-rank Earth realm martial arts would only be stuck between the 12th and 13th realm because in the later stages, it would not take a lot of time to make a breakthrough. It would require both luck and enlightenment. Sometimes, with a sudden inspiration, one might be able to make a breakthrough. The second his Green Lotus sword spell broke through to the 11th realm, the 6th Green Lotus Jin Qi in his dantian slightly shook and had a qualitative change. The pinky-sized sword Qi was like a small fish, covered with a layer of sharp Qi. The tip of the sword, Qi, even seemed to be spitting out a cold light. That kind of spirituality and sharpness made even Yichen admire it. He could imagine how powerful the Green Lotus sword Qi would be when it reached the 13th realm.
Cut.
Pointing out his finger, the Green Lotus sword Qi shot out of his finger along his meridians. It tore open a thin mark on the ground and eventually flashed through a stone pillar in the secret room. Without a sound, a complete black line appeared in the middle of the stone pillar. If it were not for the support of the stone pillar underneath, the top half of the pillar would have fallen off without a doubt. So sharp, the stone pillar and the sword Qi did not even touch. Only the Qi of the sword Qi had swept through it, and it had already been cut in two. It was so silent. Yichen had seen it clearly. He secretly gasped. If the 11th realm of the Green Lotus sword Qi was already this powerful, then the 13th realm would be even more powerful. No wonder the manual said that even if the Green Lotus sword spell was separated, it would still be the top of the top rank Earth realm martial art, only one step away from reaching the next realm. Right now, I am already at the peak level 8 clasping Yuan realm, and I have been training the Green Lotus sword spell. I can reach the Zhen Yuan refining stage at any moment. I have to push my martial art and my cultivation to the next level. By then, my power will increase exponentially. Taking a deep breath, Yichen closed his eyes and sank into his training mode again. Time flew like water. For months had passed since Yichen went into closed-up training for the second time. The Sky Cloud Martial School had officially walked out of the big reorganization. Everyone was united. Whether it was the core masters, the inner masters, the outer masters, the core disciples, the inner disciples, or the outer disciples, everyone looked refreshed. Many of the warriors who came to visit the Sky Cloud Martial School could already feel that kind of unbreakable aura before they even got close to the Sky Cloud Martial School. They could not help but click their tongues. On this day, a group of outer disciples who had gone to the Silent Hills for the training had hurried up the mountain with blood stains all over their bodies. What's wrong? What happened? An inner court disciple stopped them and asked with a frown. The leading outer disciple breathed heavily and said, "Not good. The number of beasts in the Silent Hills has increased a lot. Some of them have never been seen before. They're very different from normal beasts. We were attacked by a group of low-rank beasts when we just got in. 9 of us were killed. 9 people died? Let's go. I will take you to the main palace. You need to tell the leader and all the masters about the details. This is very important. We cannot afford to be careless." The Silent Hills had always been the training place for the outer disciples. The inner disciples would occasionally go there to look for some medicines as well. However, there had never been a situation where 9 disciples had died at once. 1 or 2 deaths in a couple of months was already the limit. After the group of outer disciples arrived at the main palace and told the leaders of the Sky Cloud Martial School what had happened, Luo Xinglia frowned a little and thought to himself, the outer part of the Silent Hills is not that dangerous. There are only 1 or 2 rank 7 beasts in the deeper part of the hills. This is very strange. The deepest part of the Silent Hills was listed as a forbidden area by the Sky Cloud Martial School. Everyone in the Sky Cloud Martial School knew about it. However, after this incident, the entire Silent Hills would probably be listed as a forbidden area. They would lose a great training place. The headmaster of the Sky Cloud Martial School suggested, "Leader, we should inform the great master first." Luo Xinglia nodded. "You go and gather everyone in the plaza. Tell them not to go to the Silent Hills for a while. We will talk about it after we know the result."
Yes.
Cloud Dreaming Peak. After hearing Luo Xinglia's words, Cloud Dreamer exchanged a look with Thunder Freer. "Brother Thunder, you help me take care of the Sky Cloud Martial School. I will go to the Silent Hills to check it out." "Do you want me to go with you?" "No need. Yi Chun is in closed-door training right now. He cannot be disturbed. The Sky Cloud Martial School needs someone to take care of it. Plus, I am quite familiar with the Silent Hills. If anything happens, I will come back immediately. Even a top-rank 7 beast would not be able to stop me. Alright then. You be careful. Thunderfreer knew about Cloud Dreamer's flying art. Although Cloud Dreamer was not as fast as him in a straight line, he was much better than him in other aspects. Chapter 307. On the main plaza, the headmaster saw that almost everyone had arrived, so he told everyone about what had happened in the Silent Hills. He then ordered everyone not to step into the Silent Hills and wait for the result of the investigation.
What?
9 outer disciples had died in the outer area of the Silent Hills, and it was all at once. What had happened? The Silent Hills is not that far from the Sky Cloud Martial School. This year has been quite an eventful one for our Sky Cloud Martial School. What are you afraid of? It is only a beast. I hope the leader will gather us to hunt the beasts in the Silent Hills. It has been a long time since we last got some exercise. Don't be too confident. There are 1 or 2 rank 7 beasts in the deepest part of the Silent Hills. One of them is confirmed to be the ghost-faced demonic cow. As for the other one, no one knows for sure. Some say it is a rank 6 tyrant beast, while others say it is a rank 7 beast. 2 rank 7 beasts. It is indeed tricky. Fortunately, we have 2 peak-level early astral-reaching realm warriors and Brother Yi. No, I should call him the Great Master. Everyone was discussing, curious about what had happened in the Silent Hills. Alright, everyone disperse. Remember, without orders, no one is allowed to come close or enter the Silent Hills. Otherwise, even if you do not die, you'll be punished according to the school rules. The headmaster waved his hand, signaling everyone to disperse. Shoo! Right then, a white shadow flew into the sky from the cloud mountain, disappearing into the clouds. The headmaster could see it clearly. It was indeed the Great Master, Cloud Dreamer. Great Master, are you going to the Silent Hills? I wonder what the result will be. 1 day later, Cloud Dreamer had returned. His face was expressionless, and no one could tell anything from his expression. On the Cloud Mountain, Thunderfreer asked, Cloud Dreamer, did anything happen in the Silent Hills? I fought with the rank 7 ghost-faced demonic cow. This demonic cow is much more powerful than it was 10 years ago. The good thing was that the problem was not with it. Otherwise, even if you and I fought together, we might not be able to kill it. At most, we would only be able to push it back. Cloud Dreamer sat on the stone bench and took a sip of tea. You only fought with the demon-faced bull and didn't do anything else? Cloud Dreamer looked a bit serious. I don't know if it is my illusion, but half of the Silent Hills is covered by a layer of black chi. I think it is the reason why the beasts from other places are gathering here and going crazy. Unfortunately, we haven't found the source of the black chi yet. Plus, I might not be able to handle it by myself. Black aura. Strange. Thunderfreer thought for a while and said, I'll go check it out tomorrow. Maybe I can find the source of the black chi. Alright, let's take turns. When Yi-Chin comes out of seclusion, we'll work together to search for him. After a month, Thunderfreer and Cloud Dreamer took turns to enter the Silent Hills to search for the source of the black chi. However, the chi was very uniform, and they couldn't tell where it was thicker. They couldn't find anything. Gradually, they started to get anxious. Recently, the beasts from the outer area of the Silent Hills had been attacking the villages and towns nearby. As the real ruler of the area within 10,000 miles, the Sky Cloud Martial School had the responsibility to protect them. If the area under their control was not safe, then where would the Sky Cloud Martial School's reputation go? Remember, although our Sky Cloud Martial School is one of the top 5 martial institutions, do not bully or look down on the disciples of other martial institutions or families. Anyone who breaks the rules will be punished. Do you hear me? On the main plaza, the top management of the Sky Cloud Martial School had a serious look on their faces. This incident was classified as a small area beast wave incident. Although it was not as big as a small beast wave, they still couldn't be careless. They had already notified all the leaders of the big cities within 10,000 miles, the leaders of all the big families, and some of the leaders of the non-ranked martial institutions. They were going to form an alliance army to kill more and more beasts and protect the safety of the ordinary people. Understood. After the incident with Jin Huang, everyone was not afraid of this small area beast wave. Instead, they were a bit excited and wanted to go there immediately. Within a blink of an eye, another month had passed. During this month, everyone from the Sky Cloud Martial School had had a very fulfilling life. Every day, there would be a huge amount of beasts walking out of the Silent Hills, attacking villages and towns. The people from the Sky Cloud Martial School who were guarding the villages and towns would join hands with the people from other forces in the nearby areas to kill the beasts. Cloud Dreamer and Thunder Freer took turns to patrol the battlefield. Of course, they did not join the battle, since the small area beast wave was not that dangerous. For warriors, it was a great training opportunity. Sometimes there would even be a situation where there were not enough beasts to kill, and people would fight for the beasts. Seeing this, everyone let out a sigh of relief. Luckily, it was still under control. Maybe it was because of some reason that the number of beasts had increased and turned violent. Seriously speaking, this was not a beast wave. A real beast wave, even if it was a small one, was extremely dangerous. Every time it appeared, there would be a lot of casualties. It would not be like this, where everyone was fighting for the beasts. In a city near the Silent Hills, Cloud Dreamer smiled. The black chi was indeed strange, but as long as it was not too dangerous, he would have time to deal with it. In the afternoon, a horrifying roar suddenly came from the outer area of the Silent Hills. Then, the sky turned dark, and dark clouds appeared, covering the sun and the sky. Ghost-faced demonic cow. No, it is another rank 7 beast. Cloud Dreamer's heart slightly tightened. His Zhen Yuan was ready to explode, ready to burn at any second. After a while, 100-meter-long, jet-black, giant snake slithered over at an extreme speed. Its body was covered with palm-sized black scales, and there was a curved horn on its head. There was a black chi flowing on that horn, which had stimulated the beasts nearby to become even crazier. Black chi. It is the Sky Demon Snake. Cloud Dreamer looked a bit bad. The Sky Demon Snake's defense was extremely powerful, and it was almost invincible among the beasts at the same rank. If it were a rank 6 Sky Demon Snake, then it would be the tyrant of the rank 6 beasts, which would be even more powerful than the Wind Beast. If it were a rank 7 beast, then it would be the tyrant of the rank 7 beasts. According to the rumors, the Sky Demon Snake had the bloodline of the ancient beast, the Demon Dragon. Once it reached rank 7, it would be able to breathe out a black flame that was similar to a dragon's breath, which could burn everything.
It was extremely horrifying.
Even peak-level mid-astral-reaching realm warriors would have a headache facing it. The Sky Demon Snake straightened up half of its body, opening its mouth and shooting out a bucket-thick dark light at Cloud Dreamer. On its way, the trees were shattered and the ground cracked open, leaving behind a deep ravine. Open. Burning his Zhen Yuan, a sword appeared in his hand. Cloud Dreamer threw out a sword attack at the dark light. As for dodging, he did not even think about it, since there were hundreds of thousands of people in the city behind him.
Boom.
The dark light had been shattered, and Cloud Dreamer was blown dozens of meters away in the air. The Sky Demon Snake stared at Cloud Dreamer with its vertical pupils. As it flicked its tongue, a black flame spread out, burning the air and turning it into a vacuum world. I did not expect that there would be such a rare Sky Demon Snake in the Silent Hills. This snake must have reached rank 7 recently. Otherwise, it would be impossible for me not to notice it. The Sky Demon Snake was born as a rank 5 beast, and it would grow into a rank 6 beast when it was young. During its growth period, it would become a rank 7 beast, and when it matured, it would become a rank 8 beast. Different from the normal beasts, once it reached its growth period, it would become extremely bloodthirsty and brutal. Wherever it went, blood would flow like a river. It was extremely aggressive, and it was born with a demonic nature just like the ancient demon dragon, which was the symbol of killing and bloodthirst. I cannot handle a rank 7 sky demon snake, and I cannot save this city by myself. It seems like I will have to join hands with Brother Lei. It was an emergency situation, so Cloud Dreamer planned to lure the sky demon snake to a place not far away from the Sky Cloud Martial School. By then, Thunder Freer would definitely notice. Once he arrived, the two of them would be able to stall the sky demon snake for a while. Of course, Cloud Dreamer had other plans as well. Yi Chen had been in closed-up training for 6 months, and his power must have improved. If the three of them joined hands, there was still a chance for them to beat the sky demon snake back. Right now, it was the only choice they could make. Cloud-shattering sky cut. Thinking about that, Cloud Dreamer yelled out as he poured his burning Jinyuan into his great sword. He threw out an arc-shaped sword chi.
Boom.
The sword chi was bounced off by the sky demon snake's scales, only leaving a small crack on it. Cloud Dreamer was secretly happy seeing that. This sky demon snake had just leveled up not long ago, so its defense was not that powerful. That way, they would have a higher chance of winning. The sky demon snake was furious and started to approach Cloud Dreamer. Cloud Dreamer kept fighting and backing out at the same time, gradually leaving that area. Hundreds of miles later, wherever the man and beast went, everything was in a mess. A lot of mountains had collapsed, and rivers had stopped flowing. From the beginning to the end, the sky demon snake had not spat out any black flame. It seemed like it had just reached rank 7 not long ago, so there was not much black flame left. Alright, this is the place. Dozens of miles behind him was the Sky Cloud Martial School. Cloud Dreamer stopped moving and started to fight with the sky demon snake. The sword chi and the dark light were everywhere. Shoo! Cloud Dreamer was too agile. The sky demon snake obviously had the upper hand, but it still could not hit him within a short period of time. The sky demon snake rolled its eyes and opened its mouth again, shooting out a huge wave of black flame towards Cloud Dreamer's direction. The flames seemed to be alive, blocking all of Cloud Dreamer's escape routes. Cloud Dragon 9 turns. Twisting his body, Cloud Dreamer flashed 8 times before he managed to escape from the black flame. However, the long robe on his body had been brushed by the black flame and started to burn. Cloud Dreamer made a quick decision and cut off the burning long robe. The black flame could burn anything. Even if it was not dead, it would be crippled. The man and the beast were making too much noise. Thunder Freer, who was in the Sky Cloud Martial School, had sensed Cloud Dreamer's chi. His expression changed, and he flew out without saying a word. From afar, Thunder Freer saw the massive sky demon snake. He performed his sky demon great art, burning his Jinyuan and forming the sky thunder battle armor outside his body. Cloud Dreamer, let me help you. Alright, be careful of its black flame. Shocking Cloud Mountain sitting on the stone platform, Yi Chen let out a breath. This time the chi was even more intense than the last time. It went through the secret room directly and reached the edge of the mountain. It has been 6 months. I am afraid it will be hard to reach the 13th level in a short period of time. But it should be enough. With my current power, I will no longer need to be afraid of mid-astral reaching realm warriors. Standing up, Yi Chen waved his hand, and the door of the secret room opened. His body flashed, disappearing within a blink of an eye. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.